Hi, everybody. I am now going live to talk about postpartum sex and relationships. I have Jennifer Denbo with me, and I'm just waiting for Jennifer Denbo to get started here. And so let's see. I'm still, oh, there we go. I see Jen. So now let me invite Jen. Perfect. Hopefully she'll connect. We're very excited tonight. It means we talk to women of all different all different ages and different life stages. But there's John.
Hi.
It's so nice to see you.
It's so nice to see you too.
I feel like I missed the office, and I missed the camaraderie, and I miss seeing guys. And like the one time I get to see you are on these like lives, which is
I
amazing.
know. I know. It is amazing and I'm super grateful. But yeah, I definitely fantasize about being back in the
Oh,
office
I
with
think you're a little,
everyone. Oh,
yeah, you got a little frozen up there. I think
oh,
hopefully that won't happen again. Yeah.
okay.
Anyway, well, we're excited to be here, and tonight we're talking. A lot of people sending questions. I don't know if you saw. A lot of people are worried about their sex lives. It's a
Yeah.
big, big change when you have a baby. First of all, why don't you just take 1 minute to talk about yourself and your training and your doula stuff, which is so cool, and just maybe just say a little about what you do outside of just in May talking to women about their sex lives.
Sure, sure. So
I think,
I am, oh, my back. Can you
yeah,
hear
you're
me?
back.
Okay, okay. Yeah,
Yes,
just
I
stop
think.
me if you need to. Okay. So let's see. Well, it all started when I had my kids. They're now 18 and 21. Ooh. And shocking. Um, and I really was called to this work. I really felt I was so fortunate to be so supported, so deeply supported by my team of my husband and my midwives and my doulas. And I was really inspired by the other women who surrounded me and supported me. And so I became a certified labor support doula and a certified childbirth educator. And I've attended over 100 births around the tri-state area.
It
And
sounds exhausting just to hear it. I just wanted to say that.
well, now I'm not currently doing doula work. It really takes it's really kind of yeah,
It's a lot.
it's a labor of love. It's really a labor of love. There's no other, it's a pun, but there's no other way to verbalize it. It's an honor and a privilege to be with women and their families when they are bringing a new life into the world. And that they allow me to bear witness to that is just really something that's really stunning. I've also
So what's interesting is
yeah.
that I think we all have this feeling like, bringing new life into the world, and it's amazing and it's beautiful and we're so happy. And for some women, it's really difficult to get pregnant and they have this baby and we're so happy. And then comes oh my God, what have I done? Exactly. So
Yeah.
I know you tend to call it the fourth trimester.
Yes, we do, because everyone is I don't want to use the word obsessed, but obviously when you are expecting a baby, whether it's biological, whether you're adopting, whether if you're using ART, assisted reproductive technology, no matter how this baby is coming to you and going to become a part of your family, the prenatal period, with that expecting period, is it's anxiety producing, and that's biological. That's built in, to a reasonable extent, because we are responsible for this tiny little creature that is going to be in our care. And the old adage is there is no manual. And in back in the day, and certainly in some cultures around the world still, we were supported by our circle of women. We were supported by our mothers, grandmothers, cousins, sisters, other women, tend to be women in the community, who would come and literally not let new moms do anything. They would they would literally have you just lie. It was called a lie-in. You would have a lie-in and you would just rest. people would bring you the baby or you would stay with the baby, but people took care of other siblings if there were. People would bring you meals. People would take care of any, house cleaning, anything at all that a mom needed. And that really helped the mother to learn how to mother the baby. As a matter of fact, that's a saying that we have in the doula world. That's what a lot of postpartum doula work is. It's really mothering the mother so the mother can mother the baby. Nowadays, we are, I mean, if you birth at home, that's one thing, but if you birth at a birth center or a hospital, you are home with that baby on your own. Generally speaking, assuming everything goes well, a vaginal delivery is 2 days, a cesarean is 4.
I mean, I think we can
So
all relate to that. I mean, give me like a thumbs up or a hands up or a heart or something, because I feel like people I mean, my kids are older, like yours are, or your older ones are, and I just feel like we just got tossed into that motherhood in a way that was completely unexpected. Exactly. So then you come home and then you have to face, you're taking care of the baby and you're taking care of your life, and now you've got this other person in your life who you love, and I think who's trying to be helpful, but who seems like not necessarily in sync with what you're in sync. Was that what people are experiencing? By the way, somebody asked if this is going to be saved, and yes, it will be saved. But if that's you, if you're feeling like you don't have that kind of support, like, you're not alone. I mean, we all feel that. We really all feel that.
it is, I would go as far as to say it is irresponsible the way that, societally we have become so accustomed to just not honoring the mother. Everyone is, rightfully concerned about baby and wants to make sure that baby is thriving and healthy. But we forget about moms and our needs, especially in those early days and weeks and months. And further, we rarely acknowledge what a partner might be experiencing. So it's so important, and for a variety of reasons. And I hope it's okay that I use my notes, because there are a lot of factors that
Yes.
I just want to make sure that I don't miss anything, because everyone's experience is unique. And some women have a lot of support and some women have no support. Some women have an abundance of support that they don't want, because sometimes family members can be well-meaning, but they're overbearing,
But
or
here's
they right, exactly. And so, there are a
exactly.
variety of situations.
So let's start. So let's talk a little about what women are going to be doing now, or can be doing, to kind of secure their situation and make things better for them. I mean, I have a lot of thoughts about conversations with their partners, but why don't you want to start?
Sure. So, just in terms of setting yourself up for support, I advise, because we go through these 9, 10 months, so focused on Labor Day. So that spotlight is just shining for all of those trimesters on that day, or those days, that we don't really acknowledge, like, oh, right, they're like, we have a whole lifetime with this baby afterwards. So it's very difficult to wrap one's head around, especially for first time moms, in order to get support. But the support that I do want to talk about is, these are things that you can definitely plan for as you approach your due date, or due month, as we like to call it, because we really never know. So, pull together those circle of women if you can, if you have them. If you live in, if you've established roots somewhere, that can be relatives or friends, or even, I've worked with many women who are new to the community. Where can you find support? Can a colleague pull together a meal chain for you? Can you go to your local community center or house of worship? People love new babies and they only want to be of help. So that's something that you can think about. You can ask a friend, if you don't want to, or you just don't have the bandwidth to handle that on your own, then by all means, that's a beautiful gift to give someone. Instead of, buying something on their registry is nice, but if you can be that point person for someone, that's worth its weight in gold. Talk to your
And I
family.
think sometimes this
Oh, yeah.
goes back. I think some of this goes back to women having a hard time asking for help. I think we're really often like set up not to ask for help, but I feel
Yeah.
like this is one of those times where people kind of want to be asked, and you
Yeah.
can say to people, could you be the point person? And it doesn't just have to be meals. I mean, meals is what people think of, but like, picking up and dropping off your laundry at a laundromat is perfectly acceptable also. Have
Absolutely.
your friends chip in to get a cleaning person to come in. Like,
Yes.
there, and it's so
Yes.
much easier if there is a point person doing that. And so ask somebody, like, would you mind being the point person? And I will give you a list of things that would be helpful. And I think so many times people call up and say, can I help? And like, there's not, what am I going to say? Yes, please go grocery shopping. But if there's a
Right.
point person, it makes it so much easier.
It makes it so much easier. And this really helps set up a pregnant and new mom and new family for success. It really, really can. And people generally really do want to help. I'm, by the way, and I think it's obvious, we're talking about normal circumstances. I'm gonna talk about, as we approach the end of this particular subject, I'll talk about what it means, during pandemic times right now and what we can do. So just wanted to, kind of frame the conversation. Another, in addition to talking in family and friends, and reaching out into your community, if you have resources, or if people, this is another great gift to give someone either at a shower or after the baby is born, to either hire a baby nurse or a postpartum doula. They really can be tremendously helpful. If that's something that you're interested in. Postpartum doulas offer overnights. Some of them offer overnights, but tend to work during the day. Baby nurse, is someone who, kind of takes up residence for as many days as a family might need. So those are a couple of other ideas. There are local birth networks. As a matter of fact, here in Westchester, an organization that I'm on the board of, Birth Education Beyond the Ordinary, we have a service called Village of Mothers, where mothers, not new mothers, but moms who have older children volunteer. And we come in to help with, literally, we're just offering a second pair of hands to help with just about anything. And that's a free service. And there's a model that's based off in Santa Fe. So I know we're talking to possibly a global audience here. So it's always worth reaching out, checking into what your community might have that you hadn't thought of before. Peer support is so critical. There have been many studies done on this. So we have literature to back this up. Just being able to reach out to either a group of moms or going to a new moms group, making sure that you are not going through this alone, because having a baby, you could love the home you live in, but man, those four walls close in on you really quickly. It can be a really isolating experience. So there are also some other things that women can do, but can I speak to current circumstances under COVID regarding
Yeah.
all of this?
Yeah, I kind of would like to shift to the relationship piece now, but
Okay,
if you
sure.
maybe a sentence about COVID, maybe you want to,
Super quick. So yeah, I mean, obviously we don't have the luxury right now of being able to just have, plans might have really been aborted because I can't have my parents or my in-laws or my family member or my friends literally be in my home. If that is something you're planning, obviously you want to talk about quarantine plans. How's everyone handling that? And then that's a personal decision that you can all come to together as a family, and certainly, with your care provider's guidance. I don't know about baby nurses, so I can't speak to that, but I know that all of my postpartum doula colleagues are offering telehealth. They're offering telesupport. It's not the same as being in the home with someone, but it can be wildly helpful. And I don't think a lot of women are really considering that. Also, we can talk about this further. There are services that one can reach out to if they're really struggling. And all of those provide telehealth, and maybe we can post those at the end, or I can give you that information at the end, but we
yeah,
can shift,
we always try
certainly.
to post. We post a list of resources. So that's what last time
Perfect.
Helen and I did a whole bunch of books. So this is perfect.
Awesome.
So
Okay,
let's shift
great.
now to relationships, because I feel
Yeah,
like I got
absolutely.
sex and relationships. I got so many questions. I think you
Yeah.
saw about that,
Yep.
I have no libido. I'm totally
Yep.
dry. My husband wants to have sex. So I mean, I feel like this starts with a conversation. I mean, I always talk to women about,
Yeah.
the first thing I always want people to understand is that we get irritated with the men. We're like, what, are you kidding me? Like, I'm exhausted and tired. I don't have, I can't breathe. And now you want
Yeah.
sex? Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure many of you are hearing me and like thinking, oh my God, yes, 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 because that's the way it is. So the first thing I want to do is defend these poor men for a minute, because what I hear from the men in these situations is not even so much the sex that they need. Because let's be
Right.
honest here, guys, they could masturbate, right? Like it's not so much the sex that they need. It's the
Mm.
connection with you that they now have lost. Like we don't
Right.
appreciate it enough, I think, how women get together and talk and form these like emotional bonds through verbal communication. But men usually do things with each other, right? They bowl, or they play baseball, or they study things together, whatever. And so with their wives, often it's the sex. The sex is the bond and the connection. And all of a sudden now there's a baby here, they're overwhelmed, they're tired, and now that has been totally pulled out from under them as well. And they feel lonely and lost and sad, and they can't articulate it. They just say, I want to have sex. Do you feel like that? That's sort of how I feel, right?
It's so, so wildly common, so wildly common. And it's, um, it's an age-old issue. There's no question about it. And if I could just go quickly through for both moms and partners as to, why a woman might just not be feeling like, her usual hot and sexy self, certainly within those early, weeks and months of childbirth. So it's really important. And this isn't to negate um, intimacy, but when we're talking about penetrative sex or intercourse, we really do look to that 6 week visit. The American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology is now recommending 1 week visits after birth. So that's great. But we're also looking to that 6 week visit because they're going to be checking to make sure that the uterus has shrunk back to its original pear size. That's very, very important. We don't really, ideally don't want to have, any kind of penetration until then. Now, there are exceptions, certainly for women who are ready and want to have sex. By all means, if you want to call your midwife or your OB at 4 weeks, go for it. They might say, yeah, come in, let's check, let's make sure. I just wouldn't advise it without a care provider's,
But
consultation around
but the
that.
truth is, this, Jen, is such a good time for women and men to start exploring other ways to have sex. Like we talked about, right?
100%.
So I say that
Yes.
during the pregnancy. So
Yeah.
especially for those of you who wrote in and said, my vagina is dry, my vagina hurts. And we're going to talk about that. But you
Yes.
can have great sex without intercourse. We're like always telling people that. Like one of the things I say to people is practice having sex without intercourse, because there's going to be times in your life, and this is one of them, where it's critical, right?
Absolutely. And I'll I'll get back to what I was
Circling
saying
back.
before. No, that's yeah, I will circle back. But to your point, amen, absolutely. This is a time once a woman feels ready, and that's super important. We need to make sure because that's the bottom line, right? Above everything else. She needs to feel ready. There are ways, partners, by the way, that you can help that effort. But be creative. Your baby doesn't know if you're having sex. If your baby's sleeping in the room with you or napping in the room with you, they have no idea. But a lot of parents are just sort of uncomfortable with the concept of making love, having sex, getting busy with your baby right there. That's cool. So go have fun on the kitchen table. Go have fun under the kitchen table. Go have fun in your car. Go have fun on your deck. Have secret sex. Pretend that the neighbors can hear it. That can be really hot, and it can return you to a time of those dopamine hits of those first few times together where it was really fun, and just let your imagination run wild, because
I
this
actually
baby's going to turn life upside down for a little while. Why not turn your sex life on its head and go for it?
Right. It's so funny. I feel like in a weird way, even if you feel like you don't want to do it, like
Mm.
sometimes explore, like reading sexy, like this is where I'm like, you need to get your brain back into the game here. And that may be
Yeah.
reading sexy novels, getting back into
Mhm.
your fantasy life. Like I do this fantasy Friday every
Yep,
Friday because I feel like that's so,
absolutely.
like more than any other time in your life, you are going to have to use your head to get you into the game here if you want to have sex. And having sex is like a decision. Like I'm going to have sex. It may not be intercourse, and but I'm going to try to do this, and I'm going to try to do this on some kind of regular basis. And how can I do it so that it becomes fun for me? And how do I get myself back into it?
Absolutely. So let's just remember that new moms are absolutely exhausted, and new partners as well. The baby's newborn stomach is the size of this. So if you're thinking about filling this, and then the baby is going to, eliminate pee or poop, it's every couple of hours or so, give or take. So that's why babies wake up a lot, and that's therefore why we wake up a lot. So there's exhaustion all around. Breastfeeding. So we're talking about three hormones specifically, and there's so many hormonal shifts going on, that women are experiencing in these early, this early newborn phase. So specifically, if someone is breastfeeding, especially exclusively, we're talking about oxytocin and estrogen and prolactin. And when those hormones dip so dramatically, women's libidos, their desire, their arousal is going to, take a dive. It also leads to what you mentioned before, which is vaginal dryness and tenderness, and it can really mess with things for a while. And that's normal, and that's okay. And it's going to go back to the way it used to be. I cannot stress this enough. This is, for moms and for partners, this is very much a specific period of your life, and it will not always be this way. Your body might feel a little different. Things might have shifted or not. This is a marathon, and you've given birth, and or you've adopted a child. No matter again how this child comes to you, you are just going through a lot, emotionally, psychologically, physically. So you need to give that time.
A couple of people sort of said, well, how do I know when to get help? And that I think is an amazing question and kind of a tough question. And I'm curious, actually, Jen and I had to discuss this in advance. I always say you should give it 6 months, at least give it 6 months. It takes a while for your hormones to shift back, for you to start getting some sleep. And with regard to the sleep, I am such a believer. If you can get somebody to cover for you, like your husband, say if you take the baby for a half an hour so that I can get a nap in,
hottest
much
thing
more likely
ever.
To have
Exactly. It is by far, that sleep is so critical. It's so critical for your body's recovery. It's so critical and this is just true of anyone, new mom or not. We need sleep so that we can restore. And especially, again, this fourth trimester is a period of recovery in so many ways. And it's an enormous transition. And sleep is truly the greatest gift that any new parent can receive, hands down. And when you say,
what? No,
go
so
ahead.
you feed the baby, you hand the baby to your husband, and you say, listen, sweetie, you get this baby to sleep. I'm going to sleep. You sing, you play, you get the baby to sleep, then come into me and we'll have sex. That is sort of where the conversation goes, right? So, okay.
It certainly is. It's definitely an avenue and a popular one. Another thing for partners to remember, and this can get a little tricky, for moms, that baby is on you all day long. And that can be yummy. And it can also just be that there's just no space, and there's just no, you kind of lose for a while, you get it back, but you do kind of lose that line between me and somebody else. This becomes, this baby was on the outside. Now this baby is, is an appendage on the outside too. So, and for good reason. But sometimes new moms really, and all the time, women need, so it's whether that break is for sleep, but it's also, partners take over, take the baby, let mom have me time, let mom have rest, and let mom have sleep. Partners, often talk about feeling guilty and weird because, of course, nobody talks about it in our culture, but sometimes partners can literally become jealous of the baby, and that makes them feel horrible. But I really want them to know that that's not uncommon. And the most important piece to all of this is exactly what you said earlier about Sheva. It is about communication. It's about talking. It's about taking 5-10 minutes every day after the baby's asleep or while the baby's sleeping, and really sitting down and hearing one another, listening. It's not a competition. Everyone is super challenged, especially right now. Anxiety is at an all-time high for many reasons. And if you can really learn to tune in and listen and acknowledge, both partners need to be heard and seen. And that can go a long way.
And I feel like sometimes people assume that the partner has an idea. And I feel like this is a concrete conversation. Honey,
Yes.
I totally love you. And I know we haven't had sex in 6 weeks or 4 weeks. And I know that you're hinting. And I know that I'm ignoring your hints. And that is just not helpful to either of us. And I also want to have some kind of sex life, but I also feel like I'm not ready for that. So can
Right.
we maybe set aside time to cuddle, the two of us together with the baby, the two of us without the baby? And like in 2 weeks, maybe we can get onto a schedule of having sex. And at that point, you just pull out every trick in the book because, and you're not just doing it
Right.
for him, you're doing it because you want to maintain a sex life in the long run. And that may be
Yeah.
pulling out some sexy novels and reading them for 2 minutes, pulling out your vibrators. And I promise, I keep getting asked, I will do live on vibrators. I promise. Pull
Excellent.
out the vibrators because you don't have a lot of time. So you got
No.
to communicate and then you got to
Yes.
get going, right? Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And and this goes back to the switching it up conversation. Manage your expectations. Everyone needs to have this discussion, be concrete. You're absolutely right. And manage expectations of how maybe it used to be. You will get back there. If you're both committed to it, you will get back there. But for now, maybe it's not about, maybe not, it just might look different. You might not have, again, you might not have penetrative sex for a while, or you might, and it may feel a little bit
Or
different.
you might
Go slowly.
or you might not want to have an orgasm right now and you might want to just give him like use your mouth on
That's
him, give him a
absolutely right.
blowjob, use your
Yes,
hand on him. That's fine
absolutely.
too. Or you know what I
Of
mean? Like
course.
you don't have to have sex the way they do in the movies every time you have sex. Like that is just not what this is about, and especially now.
Exactly. Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better, because you are Dr. Pacheva, and you're 110% right. I think really to keep the lines of communication open. Also, another thing I want to mention is to not get caught up in the comparison cyclone. This, here we are in social media, and social media can be a blessing, but it really, for new mothers, can just rip people apart. As a perinatal therapist, it this is
You're getting a lot of hearts here, Jen. Your people are really feeling. I was going to say this is a great thing for us to
this
kind of end with. This is
and
so
not a day
important.
goes by, not a day goes
Say
by,
it, woman.
whether I, as a reproductive social worker, this is one of the most popular topics of conversation. And by popular, I don't mean, necessarily fun and likable. It all, and let's not blame social media. For years, parenting magazines, back in the caveman times, when we would just look at, there's the soft, fuzzy photography of the woman who's, got her makeup on, and she's, fully dressed and looking polished, nails are done, and she's lovingly holding her sleeping angelic baby. Hello. We need some truth here. And now social media has taken that to nuclear heights. It's inescapable. Women are just trying to find community. They're trying to, reach out for guidance. They're trying to connect with other like-minded parents, or even parents who are doing things differently, just to sort of check things out, check out different approaches, learn as much as they possibly can. And unfortunately, new moms and partners too can get caught in this crossfire of, what seems like perfection. And let's just please keep in mind, social media is curated. People, unless you seek out, specifically, and bless them, the moms, the bloggers, the vloggers, the influencers who are showing you, the truth and what things are really like.
And
um,
what's
it,
really
it can really
insidious,
set you up for, yeah.
I want to add, because what's really
Please.
insidious, I feel, is that
Yeah.
the ones who sort of suggest that they're showing you the downside, but really it's sort of like, it's still sort of pretty damn beautiful. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and that is really insidious. Like, right. Like you don't, there's the moms who everything's perfect.
Right.
And I get that. But then there's the ones who are like, oh my God, I'm struggling so hard. I was only able to bake one batch of muffins today. Oh my God. Like, I just want to kill you.
Loser.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
What's
So
the matter with you?
I love that Jen talks about that, the social media spin that we all get in it, but for new mothers, it's a killer.
it's
Somebody just
it's
asked
it's
about birth.
damaging. It's really
Yeah,
damaging.
it's
Yeah.
damaging. We have to end, but somebody did ask about birth control and low libido, and that is like a big topic. but
Yeah.
it is, do you want to talk to it for a minute or?
I can talk to it, but I feel like you might want to do another live on this very topic specifically. It's a great question and a really important one. And, when you do go for that 6-week visit, whether it's with your midwife or your OB, they will ask you, do you plan on having other children? Is pregnancy in your future? They'll talk about child spacing and, what your preferences are, what they might recommend. And they will ask you about birth control if you are not looking to get pregnant again right away. And then I just a word to the wise, breastfeeding, it's a misnomer that exclusive breastfeeding protects one from pregnancy. It does not necessarily. So just, consider an additional form of birth control, please. So we know that one thing, birth control is excellent for, protecting pregnancy. It's got a great track record, and thank goodness we have that option, but it really can mess with a woman's libido. So if you have that concern, I strongly recommend that you speak to your care provider and tell them that's a concern, because we know this at Mays, unfortunately, the vast majority of care providers are not going to bring that into the conversation. They're going to say, oh, you want this pill? Okay. Do you need extra iron? We'll give you the FE. Do you need low estrogen or no estrogen? We'll give you all these other options and tell you why it's great, but we don't talk about potential. I mean, yes, we do talk about potential side effects. Of course, they'll talk about your history, and obviously we want to be careful for, with people potential stroke issues, et cetera. But this is something that is left out. And I know that we as a team at Mays get so riled up about this, because women need to know that this is right, exactly. It just really is distressing to all of us. It's very, very important. And of course, there's so many pills on the market. We're all different. We're all different hormonally. We're all different anatomically. We're all different. We have different needs and preferences. So having that clear and open communication with your care provider is I can't say it enough. It's so critical to this whole piece. And if you're not getting answers, then move on. It's hard. You may have a really wonderful established relationship with a provider. Maybe they delivered your mother and they're going to deliver your but women need to advocate for themselves. They need to speak up. So I'm so glad that many of you have asked that question, and that, that you brought this up tonight, Acheva.
And we'll do another live. I'll bring on maybe Jackie or Melissa to talk about
that. They'll be fantastic.
So I'm going to sum things up, and then you're going to tell me what I might have missed. But basically what Jen and I are talking about are, one, you need help. Like, for you to pretend that you can do this by yourself and sustain your relationship and your sex life and your baby and you, ain't going to happen. So you need to get a point person, if you can, people to help you do all of the crap in your life that you don't want to do. Lots of hearts coming through. That's piece number one. Piece number two, your sex life is important, but you have to understand that it has to do with the relationship and your husband feeling connected. And that starts with a conversation. And then it goes on to creativity, pulling out all the stops, vibrator stories, whatever you need to do to have some kind of regular sex life. And what'd you say?
Patience.
And a lot of patience.
A lot of patience, self-compassion, and compassion for one another.
And right. And that will, lots of hearts coming out for that too. Absolutely. Need, and an understanding that this too shall pass, that you will turn around and before you know it, your child will be in kindergarten or college. Right, exactly. So, and then there's all kinds of other issues, which we will talk about as well. So that was issue number two. And issue number three is that when the time is right for you to go back to your gynecologist, you advocate for what you need. Because that's really, really important. So that's kind of highlights. Did I miss anything that you would add in there, Jen?
I would. Media. Yeah, and social media. And I don't want without stating very clearly that 1 in 5 women report a perinatal mood or anxiety disorder. And it's so important to appreciate the psycho-emotional piece to pregnancy, to, even preconception, conception, to family planning, to thinking about all of these things, and to parenthood. Now that, people immediately go to the phrase postpartum depression, which certainly is a condition and must be taken seriously, but it negates all of the other things that we know about, which is, prenatal depression, prenatal anxiety, postpartum anxiety. This, the depression piece can manifest in many different ways. So you might experience what most women experience, which is what's known as the baby blues. It's a lot of kind of like roller coaster those first couple of weeks, crying at you see a puppy on TV on a commercial and you go to pieces, or you're just in a crappy mood one minute and then elated the next. All of that is considered normal. But if you don't start to feel a little bit more even after the first week or two, we say in this field, never suffer in silence. Your reproductive health it's just as important as any other health system in your body. And so you can reach out to us at Maze. I can point you in the direction. You can call Postpartum Support International. You can call Postpartum Resource Center of New York. There is so much support. And especially during this time, again, everyone is offering telehealth support. So I don't want anyone, whether it's a mom or a partner, anybody who's a grandparent, anybody who's concerned about a new mom, there is help. It is a treatable condition, and you are not alone. And I will end with this. Women don't ever do anything to bring this on, and there's nothing that they should have done to prevent it. We don't know, there are certain factors. And again, I'll give you the resources and you can post them. People can always reach out to me at Maze, and I'm happy to have a conversation and help them with next best steps and support.
So I think that's great. And if you feel like, so Jen is saying that after a week or two, if you're feeling emotionally like things are not great, you should reach out for help, which is 100% true. And I'm going to say that if after 6 months you feel like your libido and your sex drive is still gone, or your vagina still feels like a mess, that's the time to reach out to help. You can reach out to help at Maze. You can try your OB. Sometimes that doesn't always work so well, but we're here. We're always here. We do this free 10-minute consult. So even just to get you to the right place, we will sometimes do that. So thank you so much for tuning in. Jen, thank you for being here. It was so much fun having you. I'm so glad I got to see you a little bit.
I know, it was wonderful. Thank you.
Everybody can DM me messages, and I try really hard to respond to them. And have a great night and stay safe and stay sane, everybody.
Good health to everyone. Take care.